Thanks to everyone who joined our Lunch and Learn today, at least in the Pacific Northwest, for release 464. It's just in time for the holidays. My name is Shona McRae. I'm part of our product team, and we also have Shelley Bizanson, who's our Director of Release. And we're going to start, I think, as usual, going over some of the new features. We'll have some time at the end for questions, comments, feedback, suggestions. If there's a feature you're really looking to see or would love to see, that's a great time to tell us about it. If something comes up while Shelley is going through the features, don't hesitate to interrupt, use the chat, and we'll do our best to answer your question. And I think right at the end, we'll talk about some features that are coming out in the new year. And with that, I will pass it over to you, Shelley.
Perfect. Thanks, Shona. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and show you one of the features that I am most excited about. This is an amazing feature we've added to help leaders really easily and quickly create exchanges, repeat exchanges. So the perfect use case is one that we have internally where every year we do our 360s. And so what I've done is create a template exchange. And if I go in here, you can see we have a couple survey questions where we have answers we want everybody to be using, like the same format of an exchange. And now we have a create from feature where I can really easily and quickly create a new exchange using this template exchange. I'll go back to the draft and do it here and just show you how easy this is. And it's going to copy the question text, the introduction. I have 3 survey questions and probably there was over 10 answers between all 3 questions. So this saves me a ton of time as a leader. It also copies your settings, so you have an identical one. What it doesn't copy is a deadline if you have that set, any attachments or videos, because they may be specific to an exchange, and it obviously doesn't copy participant data. So it's an empty exchange. I can really easily create one. It takes me in, so if I need to tailor it at all, I can do that. And then it also leaves it in draft, so I can launch this when I'm ready. And you can see we've done this 98 times. So having staff of over 100 people, this has saved us a lot of time. And we have all our exchanges, and it was lickety split to do that. So it was a really, I think it's a big time saving for companies where you want to do standard exchanges or routine repeat exchanges. The other time saver we've introduced in here is the ability to copy text. So if I see a question another leader has run that I'm like, oh, that'll be perfect for my team. I'd like to easily create an exchange, but maybe I don't want all the other specifics in that exchange, so I don't want to do create from. I can just easily copy that text now. Copy, create new, go into the exchange, and paste that. Simple as that. Okay. And then I need to remember to go back and clean up my exchanges. But that's how easy it is to get up and running with new exchanges. The other thing we've done, again, that makes running exchanges just a little bit easier and a few more options, is we've made the scrolling experience as an invite option that you can easily share with your participants. I think everybody has seen this. We use this quite a bit in our live events and also our roundtable feature, but it's a different participant experience from our traditional side to side. This is horizontal and it's scrolling. So that's out of beta, easily accessible for readers. Another fix that we've made that has gotten, I think, a few leaders that'll save time and reduce anxiety is we used to have it when you created an exchange, you had to set up your languages before you started the exchange. Now, if you happen to forget and you've launched your exchange and you realize there's a population that you want to tap into that needs a language other than English, you can turn on additional languages. And this is supported, we use this using Google Translate. So it's not as fleshed out as the French and Spanish translations, but it helps when you've already launched, shared your link in a public way, and need to enable that to support everybody. So that's I think that'll help readers as well. Okay, and then I'll mention, again, creating and running. We have consolidated some of our moderation options in one place, so it's easier to find and they're all right here. Most times, these can just all be defaulted off and run exchanges, but there are times where you want to enable community moderation or machine moderation. That's a feature we've had in beta, and now we've made it a little bit more accessible to readers who need that. Say you're engaging a community where it's a wider audience, you might want the peace of mind of having machine moderation turned on. And now we've consolidated all of that in one easy to find place. And so, I'll mention, along with moderation and some improvements for this, because when and if you do have to do this, it's nice to have a really easy to use interface. And we've cleaned this up and made it look more familiar. So this models our thoughts component also in the dashboard. It's a list of all the thoughts that have been moderated or have been flagged by participants possibly and need a leader's attention. This is the test exchange. So there's more than what you'd normally see for testing purposes. But you see there's a lot of flexibility in the filters and the views. So I can see what hasn't been reviewed, what requires my action as a leader, and what I've already removed, and what I've approved. I can see a list of all the thoughts here. So there's a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, Shelley, maybe I'll just jump in quickly.
Yes, please.
This is great when you're working with other leaders and you're not sure if a thought should remain in the exchange or not. If you just scroll down a little bit, you can see that the mark for review button is grayed out right now. But if it is either approved or removed, that will actually be orange. And so if it's a thought you're not sure of, you can mark it for review, and that just makes it really easy for the other leader to find a list of thoughts that need their thought, for lack of a better word. So yeah, just one use case for that feature.
Oh, that's a great point, Shona. Okay, so the other improvement we've made in dashboard, which has been asked for a lot, is with our word cloud. This is one of our prettier components, and it's a really great visual. So what we've done is enabled a way to really easily, quickly download a nice image file, which you can use in other, like you can share on social media, you can use in reports or different ways. So it's not just having to take a screenshot of our dashboard. All right, that's a lot of jam-packed features in a very short amount of time. Is there any questions on these from anybody? Or is there anything, Shona, you'd like me to go, you think I should go back and...
No, I think the nice thing about this release is it's fairly tight. There's a smaller number of features, but it is, I think they're all pretty impactful. Did you talk about copy and pasting thoughts?
I did.
Oh yeah, sorry, I skipped over that part. That's something our team internally has been really excited about. So it'll be great to see how that lands, I think, among customers as well, especially for those who are marketing exchanges and need an easy way to share out a great thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll wait and see if there's any questions that come up, but just to start to close us out, we're already hard at work on our next release, which should come out, I think we're hoping at the end of January at this point. We'll see what happens with the Christmas break. A lot of it for this next release is going to be behind the scenes. So it's functional improvements to make the product better. But you will see some more improvements to that word cloud visualization that Shelley just showed, as well as thought moderation. Those are both big features, and so they're ones that we continue to improve. If there's anything you're looking for, again, sending an email to anyone on our team and they can pass it along to the product team, always welcome, and we love hearing customer feedback. We're also going to be doing a lot of work on our events products in the new year, so keep an eye out for those. We're going to be making some improvements so it's easier to host an exchange live in the room. It should be really exciting. So speaking of our events, we're going to be starting up our master classes. So those were held by our service team through the fall, and they are deep dives into how to facilitate effectively your exchange. So those will be coming up again in the new year. Lots of virtual events. One I saw coming up is our book club. We'll be discussing Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, and that's on January 29th. You can check that out on our events calendar at thoughtexchange.com. And I think with that, we're all wrapped up. It doesn't, oh, it looks like there's one question. Could you take that, Shelley?
Is there a way to combine exchanges? We started one, then realized we had not added Spanish translation. So that's a great question, Sally. And there's no way to combine exchanges now. Although, and I don't know how much this might help you right now, but now you'd be able to turn on additional language support for additional languages without having to create a second exchange. It sounds like, I'm guessing, and maybe you can correct me, that you might have shared out the first one and have some participation in that. And now you have two possibly active exchanges at the same time. So going forward, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a tricky one, although I would recommend, Sally, I don't know if you have a CSM or a direct contact at ThoughtExchange. Otherwise, I would say reach out to me and we can maybe look and see what we can do for your particular case. Yes, going forward, you wouldn't be able to add Spanish after the fact as like typing in the questions and doing Spanish translations, but I'll just really quickly share my screen. You would be able to add support for additional languages. I'll show you really quickly. So it relies on Google Translate, because I think what you would have done enabled this. So I can't turn these two on, but I can turn on support additional languages. So what happens for participants is then, that's okay. When I go into participate in this particular exchange and go, oh, if I go back, I can then switch any language. So it's not just Spanish, it would be like any Google translated language.
Yeah, it's not the perfect solution, Sally, especially for native Spanish speakers. I know often we hear from customers, they really want that accurate translation. So that would be in our system. So right now it's not possible. What I will say though, that's a really interesting request. And now that we actually have this create from function, we might want to do something in the future around being able to combine exchanges that are the same. So we'll definitely note that down and take it to the product team. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I think Shelley and I will see you in the new year at our next release. And all the best and safe wishes for this break.